Welcome back. Moving on to the measurement phase of Lean Six Sigma, right? So we talked about the define in the previous lecture. Here I'm going to focus strictly on the measurement side of things. So if you can't really measure something, you can't really understand it, right? And that's important to know. So you want to understand two aspects of measurement here: what to measure and then how to measure it. So to do this, you must first know what questions you like to get answered. And this would determine what kind of data you need, because the measure step of the DMAIC is all about measurement. Where is it? Who can help you find it? How do you make sure the data is accurate? You need to determine in advance what data you need and how to get it. A good approach would be the classical mathematical expression would be y is a function of x. So what is the input you need, which is the x, to determine the output, which is the y? For example, so to determine the throughput of a machine in a factory, you might need to know maybe utilization of the machine, utilization rate, yield, process time. And each of these components can be broken down further and then data be collected. For example, to determine a machine's yield, you want to know, let's say, the scrap rate. So if you are Six Sigma project specialist and you want to increase the throughput of the machine, one question that you're trying to answer is the yield of the machine. And then to do this, how do you do it? You get the historical data from that machine. How to measure is also dependent upon two details. First, how your data is actually being collected. If your quality data is collected in parts in millions, then you want to follow the company's guidelines, for example, right? Or maybe change the guidelines in advance so you know exactly how you accomplish your goals. What are the operational definitions within your company? If you are establishing your performance, then of course you need to make sure that everyone agrees. So let's say I work on, different companies, a consortium of different companies. Each of them have their own understandings. So each one is slightly different methodology, definitions. So you need to make sure everyone is on the same page. And there's a long list of these tools. Key Six Sigma tools include data collection, your process for collecting the right data, and as efficiently as possible. Cause and effect diagram, which helps you determine the right data to collect. Because now you know something like a fishbone diagram, right? Process mapping, which helps you understand the functional relationship with your data. Maybe some other mapping techniques that you want to use. Something like value-added mapping. Process control charts is another tool. Maybe tells you the performance of a certain process as they're being established. Process capability chart is another great tool, which talks about the variability of the process. Histograms is another tool that we use commonly in stats. So there are several tools that you can use. And another final example that I want to give is the Pareto chart, which is the 80-20 rule, right, that you can use. The measure step is not really an easy process, but if you spend time here understanding these tools, understanding the collection data collection methodology, getting the right data, appropriate data, efficient data, then you can apply any of these tools that I just talked about and achieve the required goals. So I hope this helps in understanding the measurements aspect of Lean Six Sigma. So with this, let's move to our next lesson.